Hey yo, it's time for the playoffs, we the top of the West. We got the home field advantage, time to play at our best. I'm out at Carson, California, kill a piece on the set. Like Joe Belich, the pistolero, put a hole in the net. Yo got bonito when I dribble like I'm Gabriel Peck. Call me Yamane, got defenders out here breaking their neck. And put a curler past the keeper like I'm Pooch on the left. I'm bringing the skill like paint seal, counter attack. I'll put your sheet on next to Garces to defend in the back. And we serio que golazo, give them props on the track. I got a vision like I'm Royce when he's giving a pass. Marky Delgado is my boy, helping out where he can. Put up a typho at the park, show the love that we have. Diego Fagundes on the left when we get to the half. Let's make some changes that Gaston create a play and retract. When in the game we have possession, but we shouldn't relax. Mauricio Cuevas now and never, time to bring up the stats. We gotta show them what we're made of, take a look at the past. The champion's back, the race to save the price that we have. We ain't stopping till we have another cup in our hand. What? Let's go Galaxy, let's go Galaxy, yeah. Come on, vamos Galaxy, let's go Galaxy, let's go Galaxy, yeah. Come on, vamos Galaxy, la cuna galaxiana, es la voz de LA.
Hello, hola, and buenas, and welcome back to another episode of La Cuna Galaxiana. We are so happy to be back with you guys once again for perhaps our most important episode ever. This is the MLS Cup preview. Words that we are very, very blessed to say. Today, we are previewing MLS Cup. Your LA Galaxy hosts the New York Red Bulls in MLS Cup 2024 on Saturday, December 7th at the Digs. We'll take you through everything you need to know, all the storylines and all the good stuff leading up to the big game. And of course, let me go ahead and introduce myself. I'm one of your co-hosts on this humble little pod, always made with love for all you guys. Man, I'm Rob Halon, and I spent the entire day at the Digs, and I'm so happy to be able to report stuff back to you guys today. You can find all my written work at Extra Time Talk, and you can find me online at El Escudero de LA. And of course, you know that I am here. That means my co-host, Anandita Kirana, El Yerno Guapo, El Gitano Perdido, también está aquí. I mean, it's MLS Cup. Really, like, words do not suffice, man. But try. Do something with some words.
Bueno, primero, buenas a todos, buenas chat. Man, I just want to say, like, aquí estamos, papá. Aquí estamos. No puedo creer, right? No lo puedo creer. If you would have asked me this at this time last year, we would be at this point on the verge of potentially winning our 6th MLS Cup. Knock on wood. Got some wood right here on the desk. Hey, man.
Palo Santo.
Hey, man. Like, I thought you'd be crazy, right? Like, estás loco, man. Estás loco perdido. But bro, we're here, and you know, I heard I just got off of the corner of the Galaxy live stream, just hearing Josh's sort of opening words, and shouts Podfather for sure doing his thing over there. But the one thing, and I want to stress this too for all the Galaxy fans, man, whatever happens on Saturday, yes, we want this team to win its 6th cup, but whatever happens, guys, enjoy this ride, because remember what the last 10 years, what the last 10 years felt like, right? And there's no guarantee that you're going to get back to this position. So all I would say is, and maybe this is like the old man's like wise words kind of thing, but just enjoy this. Enjoy every moment of this. Enjoy every minute of that game on Saturday. Because I've really enjoyed this run, man. Watching this team this year has been an absolute joy and absolute pleasure. And all I got to say is, job's not finished. Y vamos a la sexta.
Yeah, man. We always talk about it. We started this podcast in the dark days of what was the last days of winter of the bad days of the Galaxy. And there was literally weeks in a row where we just had to, talk about, the Galaxy lost this way, the Galaxy lost that way. And it was a bummer outer. Had to write the same headline over again and over again. And man, how far we've come. And actually, I pulled some receipts from us. And I'm not gonna spill them now. Maybe that'll entice some of chat to come back after the fact. After MLS Cup, we're gonna be bringing you retrospectives on the season and stuff like that. But we are going to bring receipts out on ourselves. But like Ananda said, no matter what happens, geez, it's been a hell of a ride. Joe Totino said it best himself. It's been a journey. We'll talk about the great one, Joe Totino himself, a little bit later. But man, we're thank you. We're so thankful that we're doing what we're doing. I mean, like I said, last year it was the dark days, and even though it was the dark days, we found a beautiful community, and now it's I keep referencing Game of Thrones, but it's the beautiful bright days of summer, and the Galaxy are one win away from MLS Cup. We really, really want to say thank you to everybody that has given this podcast a shot. Thank you so much. Some people have reached out and said, hey, this is our Spotify podcast tops, and we're in that rotation, and damn, that's effing crazy to me. I just want to say thank you. Like, I get in the feels because I'm like, damn, really? I don't even like listening to myself. So I mean,
I know, and he's not lying. He does not listen to any episode. He does not like listening to himself.
I don't do it. I hate listening to myself. So I'm just like, dang. Thank you guys for listening.
Of course, el Itano Perdido, el audio engineer, tiene que escuchar un poquito, ¿sabes? Y ya está. Pero bueno.
But yeah, thank you guys. We're gonna keep on trucking. I mean, XPH said, thanks for the consistency, basically. And yeah, man, I mean, we're gonna be here with you guys, man, because you guys are showing us love, and we got to show that love back. But thank you, and along those lines, I know that pretty much everyone in chat in here has already subscribed. But Ananda said last time that 1/3 of people that listen to the show don't subscribe, and I was like, dang, let's do a simple little exercise. Let's take a moment and say, A, let's be thankful for the Galaxy, and B, it's very simple. Just go to hit that button, subscribe. See, I made a little jingle out of it already. But anyway, thank you guys for doing so. If you already done so, put someone on. We would love you for it. Hit that or chat that fund. buymeacoffee.com/Lacuna Galaxiana. And man,
Crespo VP likes today. Smash that like button, guys. On your way in or on your way out, just go ahead and smash that like. That'll help us immensely as well. And yeah, let me put up that
Ananda, the other day I put out a call because we're getting close to 400 subs. I put out a call, and I mean, G's are doing their thing, man. They're getting us there. We're pretty close. I think we're like 23 away now for 400. If we could do it by MLS Cup, effing awesome. If we can't, I mean, I know you guys will get us there just shortly thereafter. So thank you.
Let's get it before the end of the year, guys. That would be a great little New Year, great little Christmas present for me and Rob. Let's put it that way.
Yeah,
that's the best Christmas present ever. So yeah. But no, seriously, in all seriousness, like, thank you for everyone who's subscribed so far.
Man, we're winding down to the year, man.
And we wanna, and again, we wanna, keep our promise to you. We want to keep being consistent. We want to keep giving you good content. And so, man, we just thank you all for messing with us, really.
Órale, eso es la verdad. We were on. It was awesome because we got to be on somebody else's pod recently, and we didn't really have to do anything other than show up. So that was pretty awesome. We were on Goals TV's MLS Cup preview show. So shout out to Jose for having us on. A lot of good personalities on that one. And then we were also on our own little box to box episode, which was cool because if you've ever really wanted to find out like how the show started, or maybe some deepest, darkest Lacuna secrets, you can find out there on the box to box. Ananda and I even surprised each other with a couple little factoids. So Ananda, we're doing something for the first time tomorrow, and I want you to be the one to go ahead and throw it out there because you were the brainchild behind this.
Oh yeah, well, just everyone's running on emotions right now, like Rob and I as well. Of course, we have this match preview today, but guys, tomorrow we are going to be officially debuting this might be the brainchild of a new series. I don't know, but we are going to be debuting something called One More Sleep. And it's going to be a live stream, just basically a vibe session, like no set agendas. We're going to really talk. I don't know if I'm
100% sold on the title yet. We might have to workshop that, but I like the concept in general.
Yeah, but it's One More Sleep. It's basically just like getting those raw emotions the night before, especially a big game like this, right? and we couldn't have thought of anyone else better to do it than these boys right here. So shout out to the
Nag
Nag boys.
boys.
So we will have our first LCG and Nag boys simulcast. So we'll actually broadcast this both on our channel as well as the Nag boys channel. So catch that
It's about
tomorrow,
to get
guys.
real galan in here.
You see it on the screen there. It's going to be live in just about 24 hours at 9 p.m. tomorrow. Again, this is going to be one more sleep. Just get our last little things, like what is on our mind the night before MLS Cup. Such a big game.
Yeah.
So again, we wanted to, like we couldn't have thought of anyone better to do this, right? Like Nag boys is all feelings, no facts. Although I don't agree with that. I think they definitely pull some facts in there. I mean, Edgar and Brian and Eddie do their job there pretty darn well. But yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. Getting all the feels with these guys. So yeah, catch that tomorrow, guys. That'll be at 9 p.m. Again, you can catch this on our channel or the Nag Boys channel. So come and get it.
Yeah, and it might be interesting because I'll be hitting the immediate availability, the last one before MLS Cup, and so I'll give you guys the last little factoids or last little tidbits that we learn before MLS Cup tomorrow, and it's gonna be really, really fun seeing the boys react. So anyway, stick around for that tomorrow night. The first one we've ever done. So Nag boys, shout out to you guys for being down. So son galanes, ya les dije, and we're looking forward to it for damn sure. So getting into some announcements because we do have to preview an MLS Cup. Damn, LA, stand up and say what's up. We are previewing an MLS Cup today. Oh man, I never thought I'd get to say that here on this podcast. I mean, but it's beautiful. All right, so shout outs and announcements. Jalen Neal, he was here on this podcast and he kind of revealed to us that this was what he was working on, and now it's official. Jalen Neal and the City of Lakewood and the LA Galaxy Foundation are holding a futsal tournament. There's going to be 3 age divisions: 9 through 12, 13 through 16, and 17 and up. That's going to be going down on December 21st from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. And then the second round, I'm assuming that's if like your team moves on or something like that. I'm not too sure. Go ahead and find out more information about this at the socials. But round 2 is on December 22nd, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. This is just a continuation of Jalen Neal being out there in his community and in Lakewood and giving back. We always talk about this team, how they're not just good players, but they're good men as well. And I've said it a bunch of times, but for me, Jalen Neal is the personification of that. So get out there, support, even if you're not going to play. Get out there and support. I'm assuming this 17 and up age group, Ananda, is like 17 and like 35. So go ahead and hit that up, baby. See what you can do out there, man.
No, I'm running on a busted knee after we played in the mud the other day. So nope, I'm out for a little while.
Well, guys, like we said, it is the MLS Cup final week. A bunch of stuff is going down in Los Angeles. Galaxy have taken over the city for LA Day, and visit any participating businesses wearing G gear and get a discount. That's the businesses here on the graphic here. You got some fun ones like Doghouse and Carson, Gaetano's, Big Nick's Pizza, Sharky's, Tower 12, the Taco Man. Then you have some bars and bakeries. Absolution Brewing, of course. Shout out, Absolution. Sharky's, Common Space Brewery, Boulevard Gastropub. Guys, get out there, support these businesses, wear some G gear. You're going to get a discount. It's easy as that. In the lead up to MLS Cup, you will have one of LA's own, Warren G, performing ahead of the game. So get there early. Try to get there early. 12:45. He's going to be performing at halftime as well. So go ahead and make sure you get your cameras ready and you vibe out to Warren G, who's going to be rocking it out there, man. Alumni. This is beautiful, man. I don't even know really what to say. So, I talk about Tucker quite a bit on the show, but because he's one of the reasons that I actually have a podcast today. Like, super love the Red Squadcast, and if you guys didn't know, they just dropped an episode, so shout out to them. So Tucker has been keeping track of these alumni that are going to be coming back King Robbie, Landon, Kobe, Sean Franklin, AJ De La Garza, Mike McGee, Brian Jordan. We have Kevin Hart and Rafizzi. Somebody tell me who Rafizzi is. Garcia, perhaps? Rafael Garcia. Juninho, Hercules Gomez, Kalichman, Rick Vanny, Jaime Pinedo, and Chris Klein, apparently, are all going to be at the match. So it's going to be a rockin' good time party with all those legends, all those big Galaxy names out there, man. Nanda, who are you most looking forward to seeing?
Chris Klein. Just kidding.
Yeah, you're a troublemaker, man. Come on, you're a troublemaker. No, I mean, some people might. I mean, he was a Galaxy player, man.
I was gonna say Robbie Keane is coming from a long way, and this guy's an absolute.
I saw him
legend in
today.
the city. So yeah, I mean, it would be great to connect with Landon because he's got a podcast too, and so maybe we can vibe on that. So, but anyways, yeah, it's gonna be cool seeing all these cats for sure.
Yeah, I got to see Robbie Keane. Like the first thing I pulled up to get the credentials for MLS Cup, and pulled up, and it's Robbie Keane walking with John Malter. Shout out John Malter.
Sick.
And I was just like, that's Robbie Keane, and it kind of struck me, man. It kind of struck me because I kind of swooned. Like I don't swoon like with the players, because I've obviously been covering them for like 2-3 years, but I never got to cover King Robbie. So I was just like, that's Robbie Keane, and my wife was like, calm down, fool. Anyway, but anyway, getting back to.
I was gonna say the one earlier says Chris Klein's actually really nice in person. Yeah, I just did it for the jokes, to be honest. Like that's what I heard too. So again, I won't make any judgments until I actually meet the person.
Darn it, Ananda, people have feelings.
I mean, yeah, all feelings, no facts. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Moving on.
All right. Well, yeah, no, but check it out. There's gonna be a bunch of alumni there, walking around. Go say hi to them. Give them their props. These were the names that got us here. Like, I mean, keep repeating the journey, right? So anyway, it was announced today that MLS is the second highest attended league amongst global soccer leagues, behind only the Premiership. Premiership is averaging 14.6. MLS is 12.1, and beating out the Bundesliga, Serie A, La Liga. I'm assuming, of course, like some of the smaller leagues, like the Scottish League and stuff like that. So, I mean, that just proves the growth of the game, Ananda. It's kind of encouraging people that disparage MLS. Facts, we've been speaking about feelings, not facts. Well, sometimes facts, and here's the facts. And as if to prove some of that, the Club World Cup draw was done today, and there are 2 MLS clubs in this tournament. Although it is kind of suspect how one of them actually got there, but I digress. That's a whole nother pod with the Nag boys for another day. So 2 MLS clubs are in this tournament: Inter Miami and the Seattle Sounders. Inter Miami was drawn into Group A. They'll be facing Brazil Palmeiras, Portugal's FC Porto, and Egypt's Al Ahly, who actually beat the Sounders in 2023. And the Sounders are in Group B with PSG, Spain's Atletico Madrid, and Botafogo of Brazil, who just won the Copa Libertadores. That's going to be a fun tournament to watch. Shame the Galaxy won't be involved, especially as hopefully the MLS Cup winner. Guys, if you haven't gotten your MLS Cup ticket prices has started to go down. So go cop one. I know that the Galaxy have announced that the berm has opened up. There were berm tickets. I got an email today that there were some more tickets that opened up as well. I've even heard rumors that if you get a group of 6 or 8 together, they give you like a group rate, and it's a little bit less expensive. So point being, there are tickets out there, guys. Go ahead and get yours if you haven't picked yours up. I know that initially when the Galaxy just won, tickets were $300, $400. I know that they have started to go down into the $200 range. So if you don't have your ticket, now is the time, guys. And if you just don't have the funds, which is totally okay, man, go ahead and hook up with your fellow G's at a Galaxy watch party. Shout out to ACB for these graphics, man. They've always been killing it on these all year. You have a lot of your usuals here. Like I said, if you can't be at the digs, go to a watch party, be with your Galaxy community. Sunset Room, the York, shout out the York. That's kind of an undenied local when we see an away game. Left Coast Brewery, Absolution, Common Space. I mean, guys, go to one of these. Hook up with your Galaxy community. Stadium info for the big game: parking at 8, parking gates at 8, guys, and then the Galaxy Express starts at 11 a.m. Gates are at 11. For the stadium itself, Warren G's at 12:45 and kickoff as at 1 p.m. Don't be late, guys. This one is going to be capacity. Traffic is going to be crazy. And you also want to get there and have some fun, tailgate, see people, high five, sing for the Galaxy. And then there's a pregame party at Galaxy Park. Fans are invited from the Galaxy to stop by the park, and then they can take part in a range of a bunch of different activities that are family friendly before the gates open. And in the lead up to this match, guys, there's an event that the Galaxy actually put on their socials. It's an MLS Cup launch collection party on Friday, December 6th from 5 to 8. The RSVP form is on the Galaxy social, so there's going to be giveaways, classic Galaxy shirts, PlayStation, FC play, like the FC 25 tournament, Ananda, player appearances. There's going to be a bunch of stuff going on there. So, and best of all, guys, it's absolutely free. So go ahead and get your RSVP on. Guys, after MLS Cup, you do have an opportunity to go and bask in the glory of what is potentially the Galaxy's 6th title at the next Blue, White, and Gold pop-up on December 15th, which is a Sunday, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. at Absolution Brew. Shout out to them. We've said their name a couple times today because they are up in this community. Show them some love, guys. So, like I said, go ahead and get together again with your fellow Gs and celebrate that potential victory. And Ananda, we're already with this next one talking about next year and what next year might look like. So this one broke yesterday, I believe, but the rumor that Gabriel Pecci is already being looked at by teams in Europe. Apparently, Arsenal, Liverpool, Newcastle, Atletico Madrid, and Inter de Milan are all looking at Gabriel Pecci. This is by caught offside. So I don't know, geez. Teams are already sniffing. Miggy Almiron was sold for about 28. What would you sell Gabriel Pecci for, guys? Chat, let me know what you would sell Gabriel Peck for in the chat. I'm saying no less than about 30 to 35. Let me know what a fair price is, chat. Ananda, what do you think?
I think it depends what he does Saturday, right? His transfer value can go up if he gets a game-winning goal, if he gets an MVP, of MLS Cup. I mean, that thing goes up 10 million right away. So I'm not
goes off for a Hattie.
I'm holding all of my cards until then. But yeah, I mean, Arquitecto says 50 mil. What's up, Arquitecto? Let's just put it this. I told you guys, let's enjoy him while we have him, because all these teams are going to be sniffing around. If not already, it looks like for sure, in the next 18 to 24 months. So let's enjoy him while we have him, folks.
So Big Arc says 50. Crespo says 69 million. GCAM says 8 billion. I don't know. Within the realm of possibility, I'd pay it.
I like this one. MasterCard settings.
Priceless. Alberto says 30 mil. I think like 30 or 35 mils are appropriate right now. And like you said, it depends what he does. And if he stays another year and he goes off even harder, snaps. XPH says wait till Saturday and see how he performs. Yep. Hey, right on. Very, very smart of you guys. But yeah, it's interesting to see that season's not even over yet, and people are already, hey, what's up with this Gabriel Pecci kid? Shout out to Will Kuntz and his scouting department for they said they don't want to bring in aging stars. They want to make stars, and they did.
Yeah,
GCAM says
we need him for CCC, and I mean, again, if he,
I agree.
what if he wins that trophy? His transfer value goes even more up, right? And all his incentives kick in and all that good stuff. So, again, let's enjoy him while we have him. And I think, look, if I had to put a guess on it, he's probably here for another 18 months, and then we go from there, right? Let's put it this way. One thing that I just thought of right now is I think he's definitely playing for a spot in that Brazil 2026 World Cup team. So whatever like situation for him, and right now I think it's the LA Galaxy. Hopefully he gets that international call up pretty soon as well.
Yeah, it would be great for the Galaxy to have a Brazilian national team star in their team, and one that wasn't one going in. I mean, he has played for the U23s, but he hasn't played for the senior side. All of a sudden, he's starting for the senior side. That would be a hell of a job. And you're all talking about what's the mark of a good coach? Player development. Hey, Greg Vanny and the boys, flowers for them. But anyway, now let's get into this match preview, man. We mentioned at the top that we were on an MLS final preview show. It was a fun experience. There was 6 of us on. So what were your immediate reactions or jumped out to you immediately?
By the way, guys, the video that Rob's talking about also is on the description below of the video. So if you want to check that out, go ahead. We'll put an announcement on socials tomorrow as well. So you can either hear this on playback, or you can hear that. It's about a 45-minute video. So again, really, really interesting, because I thought the reason why I like doing that is because it's kind of us branching out and talking to like other fans and sort of we haven't really talked to anyone from the Red Bull. So it was really interesting to hear the perspective. I think it was just interesting listening to how they think they can, or the Red Bulls can beat the Galaxy, and sort of the levers that they're going to pull. I think what's very interesting, and I will talk about this later in the lineups, is the uncertainty now of the LA Galaxy lineup could actually work to our advantage. I think that was a very interesting point raised by, I think it was Bob from the Designated Pundits podcast. So if you guys want to check out some Red Bull content. But, Sandro Schwartz is very, very ingrained in that Red Bull style, where they basically game plan to, for example, to shut Riqui Puig down, right? But now that Riqui Puig is out, what do they do specifically? Because they don't, and they're not sure, and Greg's not showing all his cards. Earlier in the week in the press conference, Greg was like, let's see what happens, right? He was just kind of keeping his cards very close to his vest, smartly. So I think that was one of the things I took away from it that was kind of interesting, is like, I think the Riqui thing definitely throws a little bit of a wrench into their initial game plan.
What were some of the ways that they said that the Red Bulls could hurt the Galaxy?
I mean, it's kind of like what everyone has been talking about, which is in transition, right? That's going to be the number one place that you hurt the Galaxy. The other thing, and again, I'll bring up a stat later about this, is set pieces. The New York Red Bulls have been very good on set pieces in the playoffs. So those are the two main areas. But again, we'll kind of double click on those later in this preview.
Yeah, no, I thought the experience was fun, man, because what Bob said was true, right? And that's Bob Ventimiglia. He's Designated Pundits, so go ahead and check him out, guys. No one wants to listen to me talk about why I think the Galaxy will win. I cover the Red Bulls, so he pretty much told us a couple ways that he thinks the Red Bulls could win, and the one that stuck out to me the most was the height advantage, Ananda, and how much they win in the air, which translates to being able to win set pieces and restarts and stuff like that. So, right. So if anything, they did bring up that transition defense, obviously, which we'll argue for a little bit later. That is much improved, and I kind of pushed back on Bob on this as well. Hey, this defense is much improved, but they were just emphasizing that they're going to use that height advantage. They're going to use that physicality to win these set pieces, win these second balls in the air, because they have. And Bob broke down the stats that Reyes is like 7th or 8th, winning the Needlesses. Each one of them also in like the top 10 or top 15, winning in the air. I believe he said that the only one that on the Galaxy that wins as much in the air is Maya Yoshida. I believe he said he was 7th or 9th in Honda. Do you remember?
I can't remember exactly, but he was like somewhere sniffing around the top 10, but not, definitely doesn't have. I mean, the next highest was like in the top.
Like,
yeah, like who doesn't play for us anymore, right? But he does have a lot of height, so he does have a lot of clearances as well.
I mean, he plays for the Galaxy. He just hasn't really, been in the side too much. But
I mean, again, and one of the things that it doesn't account for is the emergence of Emilio Garces. Again, we'll talk about that maybe a little bit in the preview as well. So yeah, I thought that was interesting. Really quick, Big Arc had a really good comment here, Rob. I heard you guys on goals, and I think nobody mentioned how dangerous Paintsil can be. The intention was on Peck and Jovic respectfully, but I think everyone's sleeping on Paintsil right now. He woke up. I would 100% agree with that. And I would also say that nationally, I think people are still sleeping on Jovic. He wasn't getting that much love, at least on the Red Bull side, when we were on that pod as well.
Yeah.
And he's been the Galaxy's top scorer in the playoffs, right? And
yeah.
I have in my stats section, I have a nice little stat about Jovic in terms of his effectiveness even without Riqui Puig. We'll get to that in a second.
Hey, look at this. Raju says, agreed, read about it. Did you hear a rumor Paintsil will perform if we win? That'll be more motivation for him if true. That's actually off one of my questions, Raul. I was at Media Day today, and I asked him, you just released a song called Blessings. What are some of the blessings that you've gotten here in Los Angeles while you've been here in LA and with this team? And he told us a bunch of different things that have happened to him recently, including that his brother just got signed to a European team. So congratulations to his brother. But yeah, man, he was talking about all the blessings that he's had, and he did let us know, hey, if we win, I might grab a microphone and do the song. I might do a concert. And we were like, hey, he's like, no, but it's not for sure yet. It's not for sure yet. So, but hopefully he does.
I heard Big Arc is gonna grab the mic too and maybe do a little performance and maybe a little collab with JP. Who knows, man? Shout out Big Arc.
That'd be killer, man. But yeah, man. The final preview that we did with those boys was fun. I was just kind of struck by how Arquitecto said, that they're not really mentioning Paintsil, but it was just kind of a struggle to get them to look past the fact that Puig wasn't playing for the Galaxy. It was kind of tough convincing them that there are other very, very dangerous pieces. I believe Bob's quote was, we're not really worried about anyone else, and I had to be like, well, what are you talking about? Like, there's a man called Dejan Jovic. So anyway, but I mean, it's good to have hope. And it totally could happen that their game plan that they called out could come to pass. I mean, yeah, Red Bull they're here for a reason.
I think it was just interesting to hear the other side of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And again, everyone is going to have their own teams. Like we have the blue, white, and gold tinted color glasses on. They have sort of the red and black tinted color glasses on, right? It is what it is. And I thought it was just very interesting to hear their side. And you said this phrase a lot, this turn of phrase, but it is going to be the battle of attrition on Saturday. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I honestly, I've been thinking about it more and more, and I don't think it's going to be as like that battle of attrition as we think it's going to be, man. But we'll get into why. I'm going to throw you a curveball in a little bit, and something that we've been focused on and fixated on so much that we haven't even considered another possibility. But like I said, we'll get to it. So how did these teams get here? Guys, you already know the Galaxy's path. They started the first round by beating Colorado over 2 legs, 5-0 and 4-1. Absolutely dismantling that poor injury hit side. Damn, Gina, did you have to hurt him so hard? Galaxy did, apparently. They went from there, from strength to strength, defeating Minnesota United, who was touted as one of the best defensive teams in the league, just like the New York Red Bulls are, that have put in a masterful couple of defensive performances recently. Dang, Galaxy went off on Minnesota United 6-2 at the digs to go ahead and carry on in the playoffs. And then just recently, last weekend, they defeated Seattle 1-0 at home. And that is, like you said, Anana, that was that battle of attrition that you were talking about. This one was an intense physical game. Galaxy won in the end, 1-0. But they paid a heavy price for this one. Riqui Puig, their number 10, their talisman, the prince who was promised, he goes down with the torn ACL. Man, this guy was doing some real king-ish, man. Like, he played 30 minutes on a torn ACL to serve up Dejan Joveljic for the game-winning goal. And, I mean, that's heroics, man. Just if we ever heard any. But on the other side, like you said, everybody's looking at their team through these tinted glasses, and Red Bull just as impressive getting here, man. No one expected them to get here. Actually, they only won 2 of their last 20 games, and then they get into the playoffs somehow, and they just get hot at the right time. They actually beat Columbus Crew, the former champion, over 2-0 series win. It doesn't even take it to the third game. They beat 1-0 in the first leg away. So they go to Columbus and they get that result. Felipe Carvalho scores a rocket in the 25th. Then they tie 2-2 in regulation, winning 5-4 on penalties. Dante Van Zier and Mil Forsberg were the goal scorers in that one. They go away to the city rival, hits Hudson River Derby, NYCFC, and then they just run them out of the building 2-0. Carballo and Van Zier score both goals in that one within 25 minutes to settle that one and humble NYCFC. And then, man, again, another battle of attrition, just how the playoffs should be. 1-0 against Orlando City FC. Andres Reyes with the header off a set piece to win the game, which hopefully is not something that I'll ever have to repeat on Monday. But guys, that's how these two teams got here. Nanda, do you think after 3 underdog wins, man, is kind of like this underdog magic gone, or do you think they spent it up, or do you think it's not even underdog magic? Do you think it's like just evidence that this New York Red Bull team has been slept on and they're putting it together at the right time?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a form thing, but it's kind of weird because they kind of slumped into the playoffs, is my understanding, and they peaked at the right time, as Portuguese Hammer would say, right? And I think the thing that kicked it off, man, was just that win against Columbus. Now, granted, I don't think Columbus was themselves coming into the playoffs, and definitely in the playoffs they didn't play like themselves, like in their full potential. That was a big surprise, and I think just from that, man, that was just the platform to go off of, right? After that, it was the Derby. Of course, you're gonna get riled up for the Derby, and then you just had one more game against Orlando, which is honestly a pretty good matchup for them. And they kept it tight, and that's been their MO really this postseason, is their defense. They have 3 clean sheets, Robert. So that's the platform that they go off of, and then they kind of hit you either on the set piece or the counter, etc. So yeah, I think. Look, I think they're relishing being the underdog. I've heard some quotes come out of Sandro Schwartz and his team. I think he wants all the pressure on LA Galaxy, them being the home team, or the Galaxy being the home team, and the New York Red Bull being the visiting team. But it's going to be interesting, man, how even both teams, just like from the off, how they sort of not succumb, but just how they deal with the spectacle that is MLS Cup. I mean, it's going to be nuts, man. It's going to be wild. And not just the game itself, but everything leading up to the game. Like, the players, like families asking for tickets, media availability, press conferences, this and that. So it'll be really interesting to see how both teams sort of deal with that.
Yeah, can you let yourself not get carried away with the emotion and like you said, the spectacle of it all? Interesting point by Ark in the chat. He says nobody has scored on them, Red Bull, in playoffs. They need to get scored on and they'll crumble. That's interesting because if you think about just like a prize fighter, right? That's really good. And he hasn't been knocked down or hit really. The first time that he is, it's kind of shocking to them, and that's an interesting theory. So it might happen as well.
I'm gonna star that comment because I want to go back to it later, because I do want to build on that, because it kind of goes into maybe my prediction, hopefully.
Oh, okay. Right on. Okay, guys. Well, these teams have faced each other in their history before. MLS Cup final between the Los Angeles Galaxy and the New York Red Bull marks the 52nd meeting across all competitions between these two teams, with the all-time series tied 21-21 and 9. The Galaxy have scored 79 goals with 76 against. They hold an 18-20 and 8 record in league play and a 3-1-1 record in the playoffs. And in 25 matches played at home, that's at the Rose Bowl and at the Digs, across all competitions, the Galaxy hold a 12-7-6 record against Red Bull. In the most recent meeting, all the way back in 2021, the Galaxy earned a 3-2 win over the New York Red Bull at home. Man, that's more than 3 years ago, Nanda. That's crazy. I mean, they did play in the CVI, but
Did Chicharito score in that game, if I recall correctly?
man, if you pulled that out of nowhere and you remembered that, man, that's crazy.
Oh
Props
no,
to you.
I'm thinking. Sorry, I'm thinking of the game winner. That was NYCFC, I think. The game winner. I think it was the opener.
Yeah,
Anyways,
that was the opener at the back post. I remember
that's
that
right.
one.
Yeah.
So the last time these teams played in the MLS Cup playoffs, the Galaxy defeated Red Bulls 2-1 in the second leg of the Western Conference semifinals at the Digs, and that was in 2011. So these teams do have history. There was some chatter about how this would have been the marquee MLS Cup final like 10 years ago, or like in 2010, where when the Galaxy had David Beckham and they had Robbie Keane and they had Landon Donovan, and then the other side, New York Red Bull had Tim Cahill and Titi Henry. Did you get to see Titi Henry when he was with the New York Red Bulls over there when you were in New York?
No, I had just missed them. I went into the stadium. I think it was 14. Yeah, 14 or 13 or 14. Did I see Sasha there? No, I think he was. Anyways, yeah. No, I did. I missed him, unfortunately. But yeah, legend.
Yeah, I mean, you're a gooner, so that's. I feel sorry for you that you didn't get to catch him. I did get to catch him a couple times. Play against the Galaxy, and I mean the class is. You can just tell, man. So some people we're born to pick up a ball. TT class for sure. We have Sadface says that one of the first times I went to a Galaxy game was at the Digs back when Red Bulls had Henry. Galaxy won 4-0, I think, in 2012, 2013.
When I saw him, BWR was a striker. So yeah, it was just after that. Just missed him.
Red Phillips.
Yep. Very life. Right, good old Wright Phillips. Yep.
Yep. Alrighty, guys. Well, the Galaxy are trending really in these here playoffs, and historically they've done masterfully. In 81 all-time MLS Cup playoff matches, 50, 24, and 7 is their record, and 39 all-time playoff matches at home. It's a 34, 4, and 1 record. That is a damn fine record. Hopefully they can make that 35, 4, and 1 come a couple of days from now. The win over Seattle marked their 10th Western Conference championship. Congratulations to the Galaxy for getting that 10th Western Conference star. This year, this offense combined for 85 goals, which ranks as the third highest all time in a single season, behind their alumnus, the 98 Galaxy, and 2019 LAFC. And 9 all-time MLS Cups, the Galaxy hold a 5-3-1 record. So history seems to be on the Galaxy side, Ananda. Do you think all these things start to like pile up and start to like put unnecessary pressure on a team?
Yeah, but I think Greg, and the sense that I'm getting from the locker room, and your boots on the ground, Rob, so you would have a better sense of this. But from the quotes and the press conference and everything, I think he is he's kind of just sheltering the team from all that. I think he's got his team laser focused on the game. Although I will say this, I think in the back of their minds, they and even Joe says it, right? Like, you wear the shirt with 5 stars, and yeah, it's that guy. And it's it is a lot of pressure, right? You are, I mean, but they've sort of dealt with that pressure. I felt like all year they've been wearing the shirt all year, and they've been carrying that. They've been wearing the shirt with pride. Como tú dices, siempre sudo por la camiseta. So I think they get it, man.
That's
And
right.
I think at this point, by this point in their journey, I think they get it. So I don't think that's more of like a it's a reflex now. It's just like it's muscle reflex, right? It's they don't really think about it. They just wear the shirt with pride, and they show it on the pitch.
JP, the unbreakable one. We got to speak to him today, and it was interesting. He always talks about giving everything, and just the way he talks, man, is great, because it's like, yeah, I mean, just like your blood and your sweat. Like, even if I have to like break my leg to do it, and give everything, I'm just like, don't break your leg, Joseph, please don't do that. But
yeah,
I mean,
I wish he didn't use that phrase before what happened last week. But
yeah, no, pero la entrega que dice que no, es que tenemos que dar
sí,
todo,
entiendo.
especialmente ahorita, tenemos que dar todo. Entonces es como que oigo eso, and then I'm just like, yeah, they understand, they get it. I mean, Sadfi says Yoshida has his first chance to win his first league title ever. One of the interesting things that he told us today is, yes, Galaxy fans have waited 10 years for a title, but I've waited longer. I've waited 18. So I mean, let's get that man his title. Hopefully for Maya, who's waited a long time, he finally picks up that title, and Marco Reus as well, who I believe has like a German Cup, but not a German League title. So it would be great for both of them to pick up titles. I mean, that is, of course, if Marco Reus plays, looking like it is going to happen. We'll tell you more about that. But Ananda, if the day is carried by the Galaxy, it is going to be because the engine that got him here has turned over, and it is firing all cylinders. This Galaxy offense has been masterful all season. We spoke about it. 85 goals scored. They had a league-leading 5.75 non-penalty XG in the regular season. I mean, just a very, very potent offensive weapon.
57, and then we scored what'd you say, 80 goals, something like that?
85.
No, yeah, 85. So I don't know how many penalties we've had, but we've overperformed our XG like by a bit. So not only are we creating chances, but we are finishing the chances at a very high clip. So
yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, it's funny that some of these players are being slept on. I mean, like Dayon and Paint. So I mean, in those 5 games without Riqui Puig earlier in the season, I spoke about it quite a lot when we sat down with Jose and those boys. But I mean, I spoke about Diego Fagundes a lot, that performed masterfully in those 5 games without Riqui Puig. But I mean, the guys that actually scored the goals and carried that offensive load were Dayon and Gabriel Pecci. They had 5 contributions each, 5 goal contributions each, so they were able to get it done without Riqui Puig on the field. Dayon in particular has shown the ability to score these big goals when the Galaxy need. Against LAFC was just a prime example. Against Minnesota United was another example. He's netted 7 game winners this year, Ananda. Big time players produce big time moments. The man is feeling himself right now. You saw after he scored that goal, he came up to the camera and he just mean mugged it like, I know I'm him. I know I'm the one. Call me Neo. I'm about to fly out this sun. Right. So he's doing the thing right now. So
the future.
Yeah, I mean, he said the future of the Galaxy is me, and he's proving it right now. He scored 15. I'm sorry, not 15. He scored 5 of the 16 goals in the playoffs this season. He's the Galaxy's leading goal scorer in the playoffs. We did mention Gabriel Pecci. He has 3 goals and 3 assists in the playoffs. They are big contributors and big reasons why the Galaxy have outscored their opponent 16-3 during the postseason. Interesting tidbit, Ananda. I don't know if you heard this one today, but there was kind of like a consternation amongst some of my colleagues in press because we were like, "What did he say?" Tolkien. He was like, they asked him, "How do you plan to sub Gabriel Pecci from doing his thing, from just being as dangerous as he's been all year, right? And Blood says, we respect the Galaxy, but we're gonna kick the shit out of them. I respect it because it's not some coded doublespeak like we have to be physical with Riqui. Shout out Seattle. It is just plain like we're gonna be physical. We're gonna kick the shit out of them.
Not hiding
but
it. And you know what? Coming from all those kids from the New York, New Jersey area that is basically the huge makeup of their team, right? And Rob, having lived there, trust me, man, everyone got that dog in them out there. So I am not surprised by those comments one bit.
yeah, five of their 11 starters in the last match were
Right.
New York, New Jersey based players. So yeah, you mentioned they have a little bit that Big Apple in them. That's probably why, right? But like I said, I respect the hustle because they're just saying it how it is. But saying all that doesn't mean that it's okay. So refs really just got to be vigilant out there, man. I mean, they've already said what the game plan is, so these refs need to look at this now. They need to protect these creative players, these offensive players, and they gotta put their authority on this match really, really early, Ananda. If not, it can start to get away from them. But anyway, one of the reasons that this Galaxy team Ananda has been so successful is that they're always taking care of the ball, man. They're carrying an 86% completion rate of their passes into the defensive third, the fourth highest in MLS. Of course, they're going to miss Riqui Puig, who far and away was one of the players that touched the ball the most. He big ball retainer and mover of the ball. But this is, and one of the points that you brought up yesterday in that pod was that Mickey Yamane now is going to be crucial to a ball advancement. So what are you seeing out of Mickey Yamane? What does he have to do in this match for the Galaxy to be successful?
He has to pick and choose in spots. And by the way, not just him. I'm looking at John Nelson as well. Greg's talked a lot about John Nelson's development this year. He's always been known for being a very solid defensive fullback, but if you give him the space and the opportunity, he can create, Rob. There was a play I still remember from the Colorado match, and Alex and I, pulled the footage out of it. He caught with a really, really good outside, sort of outside the lines pass with a streaking JP. He hit him in stride, and it started breaking Colorado's press in the second half. I believe that was the second game away at Dick's Sporting Goods Park. So it's both, man, and it's going to be interesting now how they pick and choose their spots, when to be defensively sound, positionally sound to defend against the threat. But when they sense that, okay, there's an attacking opportunity here, there is an overload opportunity, I've got Garces or whoever the guy's shielding behind me. And again, this is sort of like, you do this in training, man. Just like this is basically like all of your training sessions this year with your defensive midfielders, with your, the guy in front of you, the guy behind you. And they're just going to have to be wise and smart on when they pick and choose their spots. But I said in that pod, ball progression is going to be really interesting. And I think the fullbacks will have a bigger, without Riqui Puig having to drop back between the two center backs and picking up that ball, I think now the fullbacks will have a very interesting opportunity to showcase, that they are important linchpins, I think, in ball progression as we get into the middle and final thirds of the pitch.
One of the things that everybody's been talking about New York Red Bulls doing well is pressing and making it difficult for teams to play out of the back. Teams like Columbus obviously got the brunt of this, right? We asked Joseph Paintsville about this, and he's like, "Oh, I hope they press. I hope that they press forward, and then I can get in behind." He laughed and was like, "I pray that they do. I hope they do. That's great for me if they do that." So for all of this press and for all of the kind of the praise on the work that New York Red Bulls has done with their defense, I think they're kind of seeing a different animal with Gabriel Peck and Joseph Paintsville. I remember in particular one throw earlier in the season that John McCarthy had that just completely caught out a team. He throws it over the top and it hits Paintsville in stride, and Paintsville's in within like 2-3 seconds. So I mean, it's very possible to happen
I'll always be throwing, and dude, you're not wrong. I mean, what is the one thing that kills the press? It's speed and in behind, right? And you got Maya hitting those big diagonals. The other thing that I heard, I heard Twelman talk about this. I heard some of the national coverage talk about this. That's really interesting that I didn't think of, and I want to bring this up. The Dignity Health Sports Park is a big pitch, and in a bigger pitch, the press isn't as effective. You've got more space, right? And with wingers with speed like Peck and Paintsill in and behind, that's a little advantage, I think, for the Galaxy. And not sure if Red Bulls can keep that press up. For sure, not the 90 minutes. Let's see if they can keep it up even for 60, right? So we'll see. It'll be interesting for sure.
Well, guys, you guys have been here all season. You know what it is. The Galaxy have been unbeaten at the Digs all year. They have a 16-0-4 record, 14 consecutive matches won at the Digs, outscoring opponents 43-18 in that time. And it's great that this game is being played at home, because the man we were talking about, Gabriel Pecci, has contributed 25 goal contributions, Dayon with 19, and Joseph Painso with 17 goal contributions. Emilio Garces, he's been playing lights out in defense. He became the full-time starter with 4 games to go in the regular season. Since then, the Galaxy have allowed just 1.05 non-penalty expected goals per 90 minutes, which is a top 5 mark in the league. So all those people that are saying that this defense is, the Galaxy's weak point, I would argue that it was. I would argue that it has improved a lot. John Nelson and Mito Garces are big reasons why. Before Garces won that starting job, the Galaxy were allowing 1.46 non-penalty expected goals per 90, which was 21st in the league. So
he's a huge difference maker, man. Difference maker. I heard Twelman say on Corner of the Galaxy, he reminds him a little bit of Jesus Murillo, who's been a revelation signing for LAFC up to 110, right? He's got those instincts. He probably has scouts already looking at him, bro. Like, he's got that type of ceiling, that type of potential. I said you can't teach raw ability and athleticism. We have it in abundance. And like I said, he's a guy that covered, especially against a transition team. He's a guy with his speed and ability. You saw that in full display in the first half against Jordan Morris on that recovery run, bro. His recovery ability is ridiculous, and he mops up a lot of the mistakes that maybe, the guys in front of him can make. So again, he's been an absolute revelation for this team, and I think that's something the Red Bull fans aren't thinking about necessarily, but we see him day in and day out. So, and I love that stat that you pulled out. That's a really, really well laid out stat there of the improvement with Emilio Garces in the back line.
And it's awesome because he was interviewed earlier today, and he already gets it. Like, he's locked in. He knows what it means to fans. But guys, we've spoken a lot about the Galaxy. You guys know about the Galaxy already, because like Ananda said, we see them day in and day out. But let's tell you a little about the New York Red Bull side that's facing them in the final here. Like we told you, they took down 3 higher seeded teams away to go ahead and book their passage to MLS Cup. They are the lowest ever seed to play for the title, and they have a particular way of playing. They're very comfortable not having the rock. Non-appointed, and so I started reading.
No, keep going, because I just wanted to agree with Rosia's comment, but no, keep going. I'll go back to it.
No, go ahead. I'll read this one up.
She said, if our defense hadn't significantly improved, we wouldn't made it this far. And I said, bingo, exactly.
Yeah, I mean the proof is in the pudding. Only 3 goals conceded, only 2 from open play. Man, put some respect on the same. I asked John McCarthy, like, do you guys feel like the criticism is unfair? Do you feel? I asked him exactly that. Do you feel like people should put some respect on this Galaxy name? And he's like, you know what? We like the criticism. Some criticism is good. So he smiled, and I love the fact that they're using this kind of doubt of this Galaxy defense, and it's, I don't know where it's coming from, because we've kind of disproven with facts that this defense in the last 10 games has been marvelous. So anyway, guys, we were talking about the Red Bulls here. They've averaged just 44% of possession in the regular season, and then in the playoffs that drops even further to 32% and on. So they're very comfortable not having the ball, working off the ball, and making sure that the other team actually does something with it. It's something that Greg calls the burden of possession, right? So when a team has this ball and they're trying to move it around and they're just caught in the back and they mess up, that's a prime opportunity for the New York Red Bulls to hit you with a quick counter on lost possession. And one of the things that our good friend and Profe Alex Reese brought up in games where the Galaxy has over 60% possession, they've won 8, lost 6, and drawn 3. So this is a game that's kind of tailor-made for the New York Red Bulls, because the Galaxy usually have a lot of possession. The Red Bulls throughout the playoffs have only had 32.2% of possession. So it kind of goes right into what both these teams are actually doing, Ananda. Well, what are you thinking when you see this stat? How do you think it's going to influence the game?
I am going to build on this because I think what's interesting is this does not take into account the loss of Riqui Puig, and I will do a double click on what happens when Riqui Puig, what happens to these possession numbers when Riqui Puig is not on the pitch. Get to that in a second.
Yeah, it's gonna change significantly. We know that for darn sure. I want to give a quick shout out to Edwin in the chat, Galaxy Maniac 562. He says, from the CVI where I met you guys, where we beat Red Bulls in the last game, we have come a long way. Let's get this championship. Shout out to you and your lady, sir. I want to see you invite the entire Galaxy team to your wedding and see who actually shows up, man. It would be absolutely lovely. So anyway, yeah, we have come a long way. Edwin, who knew we were going to be talking about this again at the top of the show? I said that I pulled some receipts from a show we did at the beginning of the season. Interesting thoughts. We'll have that show in a couple of weeks for you guys. But anyway, guys, the New York Red Bulls, they said that they're a physical team. They said that they're going to go in and kick the shit out of people. They're 10th in the regular season in tackles in the attacking third per 90 minutes with 2.83. That means that high press is aggressive. It's physical. They're going to try to knock fools off the ball and force turnovers in that final third where they can just pick the ball up, mop it up, and get a quick opportunity. Again, they did this to Columbus, and Columbus really, really could not cope with it. I don't know if they were just surprised by it, or, I mean, they shouldn't have been. They played the Red Bulls a couple weeks before that, and they got a win. Or they just were up to it. Who knows? The weight of expectation. Who knows why it didn't happen for Columbus? But that intense man-to-man press out of the back was killing Columbus. So, Ananda, we've spoken about how the Galaxy can play in different ways. What's going to be the key to break this press?
Greg always likes to use the term, the ability for this team to find solutions. So I think it's going to be a combination of just reading and reacting to the game. It's going to be interesting if New York Red Bull are going to come out with a full press from the start, or if they're going to find triggers in the press. So, for example, there's a little bobble. If there's a little loose touch, maybe that's the trigger for the press. So that'll be interesting. Like the chess match we'll see in sort of the beginning of the game. And like I said, man, that speed and behind. You saw it in the 7th minute in Colorado. Maya hits that big diagonal, and it led to that Gabriel Peck's, the Zach Steffen own goal, basically, right? So the sort of lucky rebound. But because we noticed that's where the space is always in behind. I mean, if you can isolate Gabriel Peck 1v1 against their center back, good luck, man, because that's going to be advantage Galaxy, right? And that's the spots that we want them. But it all comes back to Greg always talking about his team reading and reacting, the ability to constantly find solutions, and depending on how the picture looks, you just get to the right spot, get to the right half spaces, and control the possession, like not lose the ball, like Greg always says. So, yeah.
Well, on the other side, how are the New York Red Bulls going to get their goals? Well, we kind of spoke about it with the boys yesterday, and this team is a team that's very direct. Ananda, they would have fit right in the early 2000 Premiership, man, because they're playing a lot of direct long balls. They like to skip lines and play the ball forward. Their goal is going to be to get the ball over the Galaxy midfield, play it into their forward line with long passes where they're hoping that Maya Yoshida or Amiro Garces might make a mistake, and they get a quick opportunity. They're ranked 5th in the regular season for their average vertical passing distance. So they're as opposed to the Galaxy who like to work the ball around. Sometimes that means vertical passes. The Red Bulls just are playing it forward, man. Fully, 45% of their passes are forward. No other team in MLS even touches close to 38%. 21% of their passes forward are long balls. So they're doing everything they can to just get the ball as close to goal as they can, even if it's not pretty. I mean, like I said, the distinct difference in styles is palpable here. And why would they try to pass around you when they can lump it forward and you have a beast like Lewis Morgan to get on the ball for you, man? I mean, strong, physical. You also have Dante Van Zier up there, who's strong and physical. JP spoke about their battles before and how he's a tremendous player. Lewis Morgan, 13 goals, 7 assists this year for New York Red Bulls. I mean, he's a guy that can score, comeback player of the year. So, and if that weren't enough, they have their weapons on offense, but they're riding a really damn hot keeper right now, man. And Carlos Coronel, according to FBref, saved 3.7 goals above expected across 4 matches for the Red Bulls, man. So there is your New York Red Bull report, guys. Ananda, we have pretty much the same info that we had for injury report. I mean, Martin Cáceres long term, Riqui Puig, of course, torn ACL, and then Marco Reus is trending positively. He said today that he expects to be ready for the New York Red Bulls. Of course, it's Felipe Carvalho is the big question mark on their side. The midfielder did not train with the team today, but he has 2 goals in 3 games here in the playoffs, and he's a good little engine there in the midfield for New York Red Bulls. And not only is he a good little engine that can cover ground for you, but he can score, as evidenced by the rocket that he served up earlier in the year. Out of these offensive players that I spoke about, Van Zier, Lewis Morgan, a guy that we haven't even spoken about, Emil Forsberg, who's the guy that worries you the most?
That's the guy right there, Emil Forsberg, man. I feel like he's been the difference maker this year with the Red Bull. If you're going to play that high-pressing style, though, you've got to be very efficient in transition, very efficient in the final third. Emil Forsberg is just a class player, very, very similar to Marco Reus. Of course, they both played in the Bundesliga. Emil Forsberg comes from that Red Bull system that is, in Germany as well in the Bundesliga. So he's the guy, though. He's definitely the guy that he's their danger man, in my opinion. He's their straw that serves a drink, right? He plays that number 10 position beautifully. Also very underrated, even at his age in the press. Again, he's very used to that high press system, right? So, they press you with a 3, man. Once McCarthy drops that ball, they press you right away with a 3, right? Like the 3 in the front. So it's going to be very interesting how we deal with that. But no, for them, I think both offensively, especially getting those slip balls in, being in the right position, ghosting at the edge of the box, it's Emil Forsberg for me all day.
I just want to take a moment and say that our man Edwin is a savage, because this fool straight up put in the chat, I just want 700 plus sad individuals on a 6-hour flight back to New York. That's savage, bro. I love it. But it is savage. Anyway, yeah, Emil Forsberg, man, he's far and away going to be their most important player. If he can control this match, it's going to be a long afternoon for the Galaxy. But the big question with Ricky's absence is, how are the Galaxy going to line up? What are you thinking, Ananda, for the starting lineup? I mean, the big question everybody's been asking, is it going to be Marco Reus or Diego Fagundes to replace Riqui, and why? What are you thinking?
Yeah, chat, go ahead and put in there Riqui, or sorry, Reus. I wish it was Riqui. Marco or Dieguito. Marco or Dieguito. Go ahead and put in that chat, guys.
Marquitos or Dieguito.
Yeah, it probably is going to be, right? So my thinking has actually changed, Rob, in the last day or so over this.
Really?
Yeah, I took a look at, granted it was like a 15-second clip. I think it was Area Sportsnet, so shout out Don Favi. Posted a video of Marco at training today, and he he didn't seem like he was moving that well, to be honest with you, like compared to the rest of his teammates, right? Again, 15-second clip, pretty hard to see there. But here's the thing. So I'm gonna bring up Taylor Twellman because he's actually been pretty decent in his takes this week, Robert. I gotta give the man
You
his credit.
are about to get cooked in this chat, son. Ooh.
Don't care. I'm gonna give credit where credit's due. So he was talking about this idea of the Red Bull press, especially in the beginning of the game. You don't want like a half injured or not fully mobile person or player in that midfield, especially against that press, because where are the Red Bull going to hurt us, Rob? They're going to hurt us by winning the ball back either high up the pitch or in the middle third and hitting us quick in the transition, right? So I think it's going to be interesting. I would rather have the mobility and sort of the fitness and really just the headiness of Diego in that number 10 position. The other thing too is if you're in a pickle in the second half, you don't want to show all your cards in that first half, bro. You don't want to show all your cards in that first half. You want to have options. So, maybe it's not Diego that's struggling. Maybe it's one of the wingers that are struggling, either a fitness issue or like a goal issue, right? Well, you can now put Marco either, in the 10 and move Diego out to the side. I think you're going to have more options off the bench. So I think, again, Diego, he's a big game player. He's a veteran in this league. He comes from, by the way, that New England Revolution system, who, by the way, are very, very familiar with the Red Bulls. And here's another storyline for you journalists out there, right? For you, Rob, and your colleagues. I mean, the last time Dieguito played or didn't play, right, was in that cup final, and he's on the Revolution team. And so I think he's got a little chip on his shoulder as well. And man, for me, all signs are pointing to Dieguito, other than the fact that I just love him as a person, as a player. I told you guys I met him in the CVI, just a wonderful, wonderful person and human being. I mean, I think that storyline would be amazing as well from an emotional perspective, but I think tactically it makes sense, bro. So I'm on the Diego train at this moment in time.
So you were talking yesterday on the pod with those boys about how it might be hard for Schwartz to figure out what the Galaxy are going to do now, right? The big question is Marco Reus or Diego Fagundes? Diego Fagundes or Marco Reus? What is Greg going to do? I want to take you back 3 months before Marco Reus was even here. Or is it like 3 or 4 months, right? Just imagine Marco Reus isn't even here, right? What would this lineup have looked like? It probably would have been a combination of Diego and then Edwin Cerrillo and Marc Delgado, or it would have been a Marc Delgado, Edwin Cerrillo, and Gaston Brugman midfield. And I think, interestingly enough, like everybody's so fixated on this Diego versus Marco Reus conundrum because they're the natural number 10s, right? But I was really thinking about like if Schwartz is like looking for how the Galaxy are going to play in this one, what better way for Greg to throw this curveball than to throw him the Cerrillo, Gaston Brugman, Marc Delgado midfield, right? And follow my line of thinking. You're going, well, who's the number 10, right? Let's look at just the defensive side, right? At least 2 of these players are damn fine 6s, right? Gaston Brugman and Edwin Cerrillo, right? So if Greg wants to play the double pivot, he can play the double pivot, right? Mark is that nice box-to-box midfielder that's going to come back and work, right? You're saying who's gonna be the creative player, right? Cool. So if they're on offense at that point, Edwin Cerrillo is the lone 6, which he's been playing all year. You go ahead and advance Gaston Brugman, who has been masterful in his Galaxy career at advancing the ball and playing through the lines in the final third. Last year, he was amongst the top creators for passes in the final third. And then you have Marc Delgado, who at the beginning of the season was laying up assists left and right. So I think this curveball, this midfield that isn't really kind of like that going for broke offensively midfield is the curveball to throw the Red Bull, because at this point you have a midfield that is creative enough to get the ball to your offensive weapons on the wing who are going to give you service into your forward, Dejan Joveljic, but you also solidify and strengthen your midfield as well. You're putting a lot more steel into your midfield, whereas if you have Riqui Puig in your midfield, it's not as physical, but you have Gaston in there who is more of a natural 6. You got a little bit more bite in there. You have Edwin Cerrillo in there, both of them working. You're covering your back line as well. I would not be surprised if that's the lineup.
Interesting thought. I unfortunately have to disagree with you. I'm not there with the line of thinking, only because I don't like the balance with those three in terms of the lack of mobility for me for Gaston Bergman. I think he's definitely much more of a like for Edwin Cerrillo. But again, I want to go back to, it's amazing that we're having this problem and amazing that we're having this conversation, right? And I always go to like, let success be your guide. Diego's shown us in those 5 games that Riqui was out, he has been a fantastic sort of balancer, equalizer for this team, and the chemistry that he's had with, even Joveljic serving up a couple of his goals. He had one of Dejan's goals was assisted. I believe 2 was assisted by Diego Fagundes himself. So again, let success be your guide. I think that would be a big call if Greg started Gaston. But again, either way, we have those reserves off the bench, whether it's Marco, whether it's Diego, whether it's Gaston. And I think that's the larger point, and we're going to keep them guessing. So,
right. I mean, it's wonderful to have that option, right? Because you mentioned Diego's the balancer, and yes, we have the evidence that Galaxy won 3 and tied 1 when he was playing that number 10 when Riqui was out. But imagine, for whatever reason, the Red Bull have have his number on the day, and it doesn't work. Then, like you said, you're losing that option for him to maybe come in for one of the wing players later into the game. And if Marco Reus isn't 100% ready, you've just wasted Diego Fagundes, which is going to be able to play basically across a lot of your offensive, at least on the wings and that number 10 spot. So, I mean, a lot of different options that Greg could go with. It's a huge call. I'm not saying that he's going to go with Gaston. I'm just saying it's an interesting option, something that we haven't even considered. And again, 3 months ago, Marco Reus wasn't here. That might have been the automatic midfield to go to. Who knows? But anyway, Ananda, there are some key stats that you wanted to point out in this one that are going to dictate who the winner is. Yeah.
Yeah, these are just some interesting ones that I pulled out because, again, having all these conversations, being on the other pod, etc. So I'm just going to start it with the stat that we pulled up earlier. As a starting point, we talked about, in games with 60% possession, Galaxy has an 8-6-3 record. However, we don't have Riqui Puig. We don't have Riqui Puig, right? Shout out Profe, by the way. We don't have Riqui Puig, right? And I believe someone in the threads of this particular tweet said that, hey, we don't have Riqui, so this stat doesn't really apply. So I went in and I did a little digging, and I'm just gonna.
Did you do the maths?
I'm gonna flash this up on the screen. So this is actually, guys, the sort of box. I pulled this off of FotMob. This is the box scores of possession and XG of the 5 games that we did not have Riqui, and you guys can read all that on the page. But I will summarize in this, which is, in the 5 games that Riqui was out, so Seattle away, SKC at home, NYC at home, RSL away, and San Jose away, the Galaxy averaged a possession stat, Robert, of 50.4%, which is lower than our average during the regular season of 57.5%. So I think that's very interesting in that, by the way, no surprise, when you don't have Riqui in there, you don't necessarily retain the ball as much. Granted, the sample size is small. It's only 5 games, but, something to kind of go off of, right? But even with this less possession, Robert, the Galaxy still were able to average 1.7 XG per 90 versus their 2.18 XG per 90 in the regular season, scoring 9 goals in that stretch, which is 1.8 goals per 90 versus their season average of 2.2. So yes, there is sort of an underproduction. Again, low sample size. It's only 5 games, but even with a low possession, Rob, we found ways to not only create chances based on our XG number, but we scored 9 goals in 5 games, and that's close to a 2 goals a game average. So we've done pretty well, and we found other ways to do it. And again, Diego Fagundes, big, reason why that was. I'll pull up another thing too that Alex talked about, which is, and I think you pulled up the stat as well. In the 5 games that Riqui, 2 players have been the catalyst for the LA Galaxy. That's Dejan Jovic and Gabriel Peck, each with 5 goal contributions in the 5 games without Riqui Puig this season. And it's interesting because one of the things that we heard, at least from the Red Bull side when we were on that pod, is this idea that, but yeah, Ricky's not there. Jovic won't get that service because Ricky's not there, right? So looking at the stats again with Puig in the lineup in the regular season, of the 15 goals that Dejan Jovic scored, 3 of them were assisted by Puig. In fact, he was not the highest assister. You know who was? Any guesses?
The same.
Gabriel Peck with 4 assists, and it really should have been 5 because one of them was like a rebound off of a goal, and I don't think MLS counts as an assist. Now, granted, Riqui probably, I didn't count the hockey assist or the MLS assist on this one. I probably could have pulled that up and said, hey, you know what, that hockey assist, he's going to be really important in the buildup, which he obviously is, right? So in the playoffs, 2 out of the 5 goals that Jovic scored were assisted by Puig. 1 was from Peck. So again, yes, Dejan won't have the direct service, but his chemistry with Fagundes, with Peck, with Paintsel is still going to be really, really vital in this game. And here's the last thing that I'm going to pull up from Alex. So the Galaxy, again, talking about the expected goals against, right, their defense. The Galaxy averaged 1.8 XG against in their first 8, but in the last 8 matches, including the postseason, the Galaxy have averaged 0.8 XG against. That's the thing that you've talked about. Now, the one thing I will say, though, for this one is we talk about set pieces. We mentioned it, but the stat here, Robert, is that New York Red Bull have scored a set piece goal in every one of their playoff games. We've got to watch out for the set pieces.
Well, that harkens back to what Bob was talking about, as that team wins in the air.
That's right.
Very dangerous pieces. Both Nealis's, Reyes, they win in the air. I mean, they're big physical backs. So,
yep.
The only thing about having these big physical backs there and playing that 3-man back line is that Gabriel Pecky has been destroying 3-man back lines all season. He's probably, for me and Nanda, the danger man for the Galaxy here. I mean, if he has a successful game, the Galaxy are pretty sure to win. Is that your danger man for the game, or do you think, like Arquitecto said earlier, maybe it might be somebody different, like Joseph Paintsel?
Yeah, I think the main man is going to be Gabriel Peck, but I think it's Dejan Jovic. I'm going to go back to him, man. You've called out the stat of him being a big game player. He's really showing us that this year. And I feel like, he is going to, Nico talked about this too against the Seattle defense. And I'm wondering if this is going to apply to the Red Bull defense as well, but he is not a player like, he compared it to Giroud, for example. He's not that. He has movement. He has trickery inside the box. He's no longer a tap-in merchant. Yes, he gets in the right positions, but I think not a lot of people are giving him credit of the types of goals that he scored this year. I always refer to that little chop back against the LAFC defender, sitting him down and scoring the very first goal in the comeback, right, Rob? And just look at the goal the other day. I mean, Riqui passes it to him on a plate, but he goes reverse against the other side of Stephen Fry, who's a damn good keeper. He goes against them, hits it low and hard. So he's become a very, very clinical finisher. Not only a poacher now, he's becoming a very good all-around striker. So his goal-scoring ability on top of his link-up play, he might drop in a little deeper as well to help in the build-up and in sort of the final phase. That's going to be real interesting to watch anyways as well, Robert. So, yeah, man, for me, it's going to be Dejan Jovic, actually. I mean, Peck, I think we know he's going to be the main man. But if you ask me, who's the other guy that needs to step up for the Galaxy to win? It's Dejan Jovic, and he's been that guy all postseason.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. I'm gonna reference my co-host who yesterday was talking about how we know that some of these players are going to be the focal points, but the other players are going to have to give just that little bit more, that extra 10%. Riqui is out, so we have to each give a little bit more, right? Obviously, Gabriel in the pecking order. It's probably Gabriel Pecci as the focal point for the Red Bulls, or the man they're going to be looking at most, and then followed by Dejan Joveljic, and then probably followed by Joseph Paintsel. But Joseph Paintsel, for me, Ananda, is in particular the guy that needs to be that X factor, and he looks ready, man. He looks relaxed, and he looks ready. He was joking with us, and you know, like I said, he's had a lot of opportunities this year that have hit the post or stuff like that. I think he's going to finally come good in MLS Cup when it actually matters, when it's the moment. I mean, somebody earlier today told me like, oh yeah, he'll get his chances, but you know, out of the 5, he'll probably score 1. I was like, cool, score that 1 and make it be that 1-0, right? Like, you just need 1, right? At the end of the day, you just need 1. I don't care if it's like you're only scoring 1 out of the 5, but if he gets that 1 goal, then it's special, right? So for me, Joseph Paintsel is kind of that man that has to be the danger man for Los Angeles on Saturday. Guys, we've already spoken about the New York Red Bulls. I mean, they have an imposing physical forward line with Lewis Morgan and Dante Van Zier, and then a really smooth time manipulator, I guess you would call him, in Forsberg. They're at the 10. Edelman has been playing pretty well, Ananda, as well. I mean, he's a goal threat. I believe he has 1 goal here in the playoffs. So you know, they have ways to score, ways to hurt you, but essentially this one again boils down to that tough physical defense against that potent offense. But chat, we're going to ask you now, for the Galaxy to win this match, they have to ... For the Galaxy to win this match, they have to let us know in the chat while you guys are going and letting us know what you think the Galaxy need to do to win this match. Ananda is going to go ahead and give us some betting odds brought by him and Dr. Raquinho.
So this one's interesting, Rob. So I pulled this up. This is the betting odds. Let me take out that banner. So this is the betting odds 2 days ago. This is December 3rd, right? Galaxy at a -300 and the Red Bull at a +210. But I just pulled this one up today, and it's changed a little bit. So the Galaxy at a 54% odds, and the Red Bull as at a 26%. So it's kind of shifted a little bit. Earlier in the week, the Galaxy had a little bit higher odds, but now they're starting to get a little closer. I think some of it has to do with obviously the Riqui news, maybe the Marco Royce injury, etc. But I mean, look, 54% chance at home is still a damn good odds, and to be honest, 26% is not that bad either from the Red Bulls perspective. But yeah, pretty interesting. The odds are continuously shifting here. So yeah, it'll be an interesting one.
I think the odds shift even further in the Galaxy's favor if Marco Royce is healthy and available, whether he starts or not. It just gives the Galaxy another option, to try it out against the Red Bull. So we asked chat for the Galaxy to win this match, they have to ... But I'd be interested to hear, based off everything we've heard from the New York Red Bull boys, from everything we've read, from everything that we've studied on, all the facts and figures, the odds, what you personally think the Red Bulls need to do if they want to have a chance in this match. I mean, like Bob said, you brought me on this pod to talk about the ways that Red Bull can win, but now it's time to get into the mind of the foe. So if you were Sandro Schwartz, how are you putting out Red Bull to beat this Galaxy team?
Well, I'm going to, like they said, press and kick the living shit out of them, right? That's basically my tactic. And I think, simply put, man, tactics aside and everything, because I think we've dealt with that quite a bit. And I think it's going to be really key for both sides, which is I think whoever scores first are going to win this game. And I think whoever scores first is going to set the tone for this game for the rest of it. If the Galaxy score first, man, it's I think the Red Bulls are, obliged to open themselves up, which leaves them open on the counter and in semi-transition or full transition. And I think the Galaxy have shown that they have been very, very good on that this year as teams open up, especially in sort of that, back three wing back setup. if the Red Bulls score first, or even if they keep this thing a stalemate like Seattle, Rob, I think the crowd will get a little more nervous. I think the stadium will be a little further on edge, right? I mean, of course, the Galaxy fans will do everything in our power to will this team on, but the further it gets 0-0, I think there might be some nerves that set in. So if we can break in that deadlock early, man, this goes back to the point. This is the start comment that I have from Arquitecto. Nobody scored on them yet in the playoffs. They need to get scored on, they'll crumble. And this is what I'm saying about getting that first goal. I think if we get that first goal, I think it'll definitely lift the mood up quite a bit, and it'll take those nerves out that you and I. There's the first one.
Ooh,
and I
got him, champ. That's a shot for Ananda.
That we had at halftime. So I think that's one thing. And the other thing that I'll say to you, man, is for the Galaxy to win, they need to not play the occasion. They just need to play the game. You got to remember that this is the first rodeo for these guys. Yes, we have some veterans in that group: Diego Fagundes, Marco Royce, Mayoshida. We will look to those leaders to find sort of that calming presence. We have an MLS Cup winner in Mark Delgado in that midfield, right? But we need to rely on those leaders, or the Galaxy needs to rely on those leaders on the pitch to not play the occasion and just play their game, and we should be good.
Chat, we love that you're dropping your responses for how the Galaxy are going to win this match. Also, start dropping your predictions in the chat for who actually wins this MLS Cup. Start dropping those predictions, guys. Ananda, it's interesting because you said you don't play the occasion, play the game, right? I spoke to Edwin Cerrillo today about what this game means. He becomes that much more important in light of Riqui not being in the midfield. I mean, you're talking about a 22-year-old man as basically the lone anchor for a lot of the year in this team, and he's been playing lights out. So I asked him, what does this game mean? Is it just another game, or because it's a final, what does that do to you? And he said, no, it's just another game, right? He said it's just another game. It's there's a lot more emotions involved, but it's just another game. So I think, like you said, they're kind of locked in. They know not to play the occasion, to play the game. I spoke to Maya about the same thing, with Riqui being out, with this being a final, with 27,000 rabid Angelinos screaming their heads off, trying to get that sixth cup. How do you manage those emotions? And just like you said, he pointed to Mark Delgado himself. These veterans in the locker room that are going to help these younger players play the match and not the occasion. We have a bunch of really fun folks in the chat. We want to say thank you guys for stopping by. El Profe Alex Ruiz has stopped by. Saw him out there at media availability as well. Victor B says, how about another 30-second goal? That would be absolutely wonderful to have, Victor B. There was such a distinct pop when Dayon scored the other day, and you can hear it in these highlights. It's just that pop. And if I mean, you already said, Ananda, if the Red Bull gets scored on, that they might crumble, right? Well, if they get scored on with those 27,000 rabid Angelinos, with that pop, with that Kendrick Lamar popping off everywhere all around you, I mean, that might be it. That might be all she wrote, right? But Ananda, we have been asking chat for the Galaxy to win this match. They have to. Let's go ahead and start going to some of those. Hit them up.
Yeah, so one only Rocio says, in order for the Galaxy to win, they need to remember how far they've come, know how proud we are of them, and give it all they got. I love that answer. That's really just like good emotions, and I think that's the sense that I'm gleaning from you, Rob, that you're getting from the locker room as well. Edwin says to attack the game like they're losing, even if they're up. I mean, the Galaxy have shown that killer mentality, that killer instinct this year, all year, right? We've been talking about that. So good point there. Scott W says they must play with heart and a complete game, goal line to goal line. Yeah, they've shown a lot of heart this playoff season, and a complete game. Oh man, this would be the time to play that complete 90-minute game, right? And like Victor B said, how about another 30-second goal? And yeah, chat's already starting to put their predictions. So shall we just get to it, Rob, before we close out?
Well, I want to hear. I want to hear from you really quick. What do the Galaxy have to do?
Oh, I just said it. What did I say? I said, well, number one is the Galaxy. They need to score first, if at all
Gotcha.
possible. And the other thing is they need to play the game, not the occasion.
Gotcha. No, I agree with both of those. I didn't know that was your official for the Galaxy to win
Yeah.
this match.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of dovetailing off of that. It's yeah. They don't have to change anything. Just I'm gonna be Mufasa and say remember who you are. You
That's
know.
what Garcia said. Yeah.
Yeah. Remember who you are. And just play your game. You've done this already. You've gone out there without Riqui and you've played well. You've done your thing. You have players that are big time players producing big time moments. I don't really think that they need to do anything different or anything crazy to win this match. Yeah, let's do this prediction, Ananda. I went first last time, so go ahead and go first.
Nope. I am not going first. You are going
What?
first this time because you always say that. You always play this game. But by the way, shout out Victor V because I think he read your article, man. Because you, by the way, check out Rob's article, guys, on Extra Time Talk. He wrote a really good piece just on just a lot of the important moments this year. And Victor V calls it out right here, Rob. This team has grit. We've seen it in the KC 3-2 comeback win and the LAFC 4-2 win. You're absolutely right, man. Absolutely right.
And shout out to everybody that's covering this team right now. I mean, we have Prophet Alex in the chat. I mean, we had Miggy Reese in the chat. You know, the Podfather, of course, year 16 doing his thing. Damien was out there covering this team. I mean, all these people have been covering this team forever. And you know, like Anand and I know there was a lot of dark times around this team, and they still put in their blood, sweat, and tears. All the Galaxy content creators, whether it's you know written or whether it's podcast, you know, Simply Soccer folks, the Nag Boys, I mean, straight from the Sands, LA Riot, Squadcast. I mean, everybody has contributed to get us here to this moment. Man, wouldn't have it any other way. So, Ananda, do you want to read some of these predictions?
Yep. Because chat always goes first, right? So Victor says
Right.
3-1, 3-1, G's up. GCam 2-1, Galaxy 88th minute edge of your seat game. Whew. Can you imagine the pop that would occur
Miguel
in
Berry?
that stadium? Dude, oh my God.
Woo!
One and only Rocio. I love this. Heart prediction. Galaxy win 3-0. Head prediction. Galaxy win 2-1. You see this head and heart thing? That's my favorite. Heart pick 4-0 by halftime. GCam. And big arc 3-1 Galaxy. Vámonos, are you gonna follow at Big Arc with a 3-1 Gala?
Yeah, that's what I've been saying. I called it in the pod yesterday. That we did with those Gold TV boys. I'm sticking by it 3-1. I think the Galaxy are going to score first. And you know, Red Bulls might make it interesting by tying it up. Galaxy are going to get the go ahead. Red Bulls are going to try to tie it up and expose themselves, and the Galaxy are just going to be able to get in behind, which, you know, they are a better second half team. They've scored, I believe, now 14 goals after the 80th minute. They're dangerous up until the last final moment. So I think, yeah, it's going to be 3-1.
Yeah. I think it's going to be 2-1, only because I think the first half is going to be a chess match, and I'm going to be nervous again at halftime. I don't think we're going to have the breakthrough in the first half, and I think we're going to have the breakthrough, like you said, in the second half. Maybe, you know, a substitution, a tactical switch might unlock it. But, yeah, I just think maybe it's going to be the occasion. I don't know. Or maybe Cornell might have a wicked first half. Again, goalkeepers can keep teams in games, right? We've seen that a lot.
Damn right.
And so we'll see, man. We'll see. Again, the earlier we can get that breakthrough, it's going to be better for us. We're at home. The crowd's going to be behind them. So the earlier we can get that breakthrough, the better. But I agree with GCam wholeheartedly. Whatever happens, Rob, I'm probably going to cry. So there you go.
Yeah. I will probably cry as well. You probably won't be able to tell because hopefully I'll have champagne all over myself. That's what it is. I mean, Ananda, you're calling a 2-1. I'm calling a 3-1. Either way, that's a Galaxy win. We have a bunch of people in the chat that's calling a Galaxy win. Alberto says 3-2. It's going to be pandemonium. It's going to be absolutely nuts. God, I can't wait. Really quick note or anecdote about today, Ananda, which I took to be a good omen. As I was leaving media availability, wifey went and picked me up because she had some stuff to do around there, and while she was waiting for me, she saw Maya come out, Don McCarthy come out, Juninho come out, Gabriel Pecca come out, Joseph Painzo come out. She took the opportunity to take some photos, and then Dick Security was like, "Hey, you can't be here," and then out of nowhere, Don Raul comes out of nowhere, and he goes, "Hey, that's my sobrina. That's my niece." And he was like, she can stay. That's my niece. So Don Raul, literally, man, just part of the Galaxy community since day one, but also taking care of my wife. So Don Raul is now my wife's uncle, which is bloody awesome. And he was even like, "Oh yeah, your husband has a podcast. Oh, here's my information." So hopefully one day, guys, we'll be able to bring you Don Raul.
Nice.
Just an amazing man. And now I guess he's part of the family, guys. But we are super excited to go ahead and bring you more coverage of MLS Cup. Tomorrow, we're going to be getting together with those Nag boys for the first simulcast ever between the Nag boys and La Cuna Galaxiana. So make sure and hang out with us. It's going to be very, very informal. We're going to be just hitting those feelings, not facts, and we hope you guys can stop by and hang out with us. We hope you guys as well can go ahead and put someone onto this pod. We are shooting for 400 before this season is over. Ananda, do you have anything else to add before we get on out of here?
Couple of really good comments in chat. I always try to leave the last word for them, and I want to echo their sentiments. So one and only Rocio says, "I'm super emotional and excited for Saturday. I'm going to do my best to take every second in. This has been a long time coming, and our time is here. I wanted to thank every single one of you because we are the LA Galaxy. Can't wait to celebrate with you all when we win our 6th cup. Much love. Here. Nothing else needs to be said." Victor says, "Get to the game early, guys, and support this team for the full 90 minutes. We said in the shoutouts and there's a lot going on before. It's probably going to be a lot of traffic. Parking is going to be a mess trying to get in. If you leave it for 30 minutes before kickoff, you've got a pregame set as well as a halftime set. So get there early, guys. Support this team for sure." And GCam says, "Don Raul 96."
Damn right. I took that to be a wonderful omen that I got to speak to that wonderful man and that he got to become part of my family, apparently. So that's awesome. Ananda, yeah, man, no matter what happens on Saturday, guys, you know that we'll be back with you on Monday to give you our reaction to this match, no matter what happens, whether it's a Galaxy win or whether the unfortunate should happen. We will be back with you. It's either going to be the highest of highs or the lowest of lows, but we will be with you for it on Monday, December 9th for our reaction pod to MLS Cup. Guys, we've been saying all year the job's not finished. It is not. It's 90 minutes away, but it's almost there. We are almost there. And guys, in these moments, I will remind you that the voice of the Galaxy has been pretty active recently, giving us words of calm and words of wisdom. And this just recently, this is one of his latest pearls. He says, that's Joe Tutino, by the way. "Some of you witnessed the very first and even the second. Another group came along for the next 3, 9 times in a final. 5 crowns, 2 U.S. Open Cups, Confederations Cup, 2 Supporter Shields, and now we have a 3rd generation who will know. Never take this moment for granted. None were easy and all were earned with blood, sweat, and tears of a group which reached the pinnacle of their journey. This is the most special of moments. Relish it." Geez, I would invite you all to relish the moment. It is beautiful times. Saturday is going to be beautiful times. Make all the greatest memories. Take a bunch of pictures. Give a lot of hugs. Just relish it. Who knows what's going to happen again? So Ananda, I guess from me and you, you and I, another shot for you. Blessings to all you guys out there in the Galaxy sphere. Blessings to the chat. We really hope that you enjoyed this pod. Literally the most important pod that we've ever done, highlighting and previewing the MLS Cup for you guys. We wouldn't have it any other way. We'll see you guys on Monday. And one thing left to say.
Or tomorrow during
yeah.
the vibe sesh.
Oh yeah, I'm not used to it at all. Yes, tomorrow night for the vibe sesh with the Nag
you
boys
guys on
the
vibes
simulcast.
tomorrow. Yeah.
Mañana, Come back
get
and
those
hang.
nerves. Get those nerves out, guys. Get those nerves out.
Right. I might even be sipping on a little something. We invite you to sip on a little something too.
There
But
you go.
anyway, guys, we love you. Thank you for being here with us. We'll be back with you tomorrow night, and then we'll be back with you guys on Monday, hopefully to celebrate a 6th MLS Cup. Only one thing left to say. Jesus!
Let's go for the 6. Let's go.
Quiero la sexta. You and I, Galaxy, mi amor.